So what's the difference between Pure Land Buddhism and Theravada Buddhism? Hi everyone, back at home again off the beach from last week, and what I want to do this time is I want to explore from a GCSE perspective, but I hope it's of interest for people generally, the difference between really two quite extremes that exist within Buddhism. One is the very traditional Theravada approach, which is found in countries like Thailand and Myanmar, which is one which looks at the Dharma of the Buddha, the Sakyamuni Buddha, the Buddha who lived on earth, and follow it in quite a rigorous, literal way, and compare that with the Mahayana tradition that's known as Pure Land. Now, the reason why this is of interest and why it's interest to study is because Theravada Buddhism can seem quite obscure. It can seem like the only way in which you can achieve any real pathway forward in Theravada Buddhism is actually by becoming a monastic, a monk or a nun, and committing and devoting your life, and by following the different precepts, the most basic of ones of which you can see on the screen. And it really seems a very rigorous process which is not open to everyone, and indeed actually needs different lifetimes to help you to access. The contrast is Pure Land. Now, Pure Land doesn't look at the earthly Buddha in quite the same way. Instead, it focuses on what we would call a celestial Buddha, a Buddha who inhabits a celestial world. And the most common and the most popular of those is known as the Amitabha Buddha. Now, the whole point about Pure Land, which is very big in certain parts of Asia, in like China and countries like that, it's very popular. But it seems like a much more easy pathway. It seems like a pathway which strips away all that very rigorous, disciplined, keeping rules, being a monastic. It seems like it's something that anyone can do. In its very simplest level, it's a Buddha of devotion. It's a Buddha where by reciting mantras like Namo Amitabha Buddha, you yourself can inhabit this Pure Land. In the Pure Land, what's it like? What are we describing here? We're almost describing somewhere that's like a pure training ground so you can be a Buddhist at peace with all the distractions of the world. So on the one hand, you've got the Theravada approach, and in the Theravada approach, you go through this endless cycle of life, death, rebirth, but within that, hopefully you can become a monastic, and then you can study and you can focus and you can learn all these different and quite rigorous things. Or by devoting yourself to Amitabha Buddha, you can pass into the Pure Land, and the Pure Land gives you a pure training location, a place which is beautiful, which isn't like heaven in any sort of Christian sense, but is very much a place where you can achieve enlightenment at peace and at wonder. So why wouldn't you go for that? Why would anybody go for the Theravada approach, apart from the fact they happen to be born in a country where that's the religious option? But of course, what I'm talking about is something which exists in many religious traditions, and we can really get our heads around this. Do we go for the easy approach, or do we go for the more disciplined, complicated approach? And the advantage of going for the more complicated, disciplined approach, if you like, the Theravada approach, is because it builds up a greater karmic energy. It helps you to really build up yourself as a person. You learn self-control, you learn self-discipline, you learn to meditate in quite a rigorous way, and you learn those different precepts which control your behavior or activity in such a way that earthly temptations don't seem so attractive. On the other hand, not everyone is able to access those in quite the same way. And the whole point about Pure Land is it's something that anyone can access. You don't have to be a particularly good person, you just have to want to do it. You have to have that desire and that commitment to focus on the Amitabha Buddha. So, do we prefer a disciplined, structured, if you like, ascetic pathway which builds us up as people, which makes us into perhaps stronger, more resilient people? Or do we prefer an easy pathway which gives us a straightaway solution, which is, if you like, a plug and play Buddhism? And by doing that, maybe somehow you're turning into that purer Buddhist through not much effort to yourself. Read more, learn more. This is a very complex and multi-layered idea. Hope you enjoyed that. Click on like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you've not yet done so. Cheers, take care, see you again.